session, as you see in the right hand, is starting to record, okay? So you should see that pop up when I'm recording, just so you know, and it'll be a red dot.
Okay.
So anytime you want me to stop recording, you can just ask me, and then I'll turn that off, and we can talk without it being recorded. So,
Okay.
well, good morning.
Good morning. So my first question, this happened in my non-inclusion class, but I was just curious as to what you'd say. So I was collecting papers, and okay, so when the leader of each pod collected the paper, the one child said, "That's the worst writing I've ever seen." Now, luckily, the boy who wrote this was in the restroom, so he didn't hear it, and obviously has some accommodations that he's very smart. So what do you say in that? I told him, I said, well, I don't have a problem reading it. I said, I just have a problem reading really small handwriting. But I didn't know what a good response would be.
Yeah, I mean, did you already do the activity of fair means everyone gets what he or she needs or not?
No.
Okay, so let me share that strategy with both of you, and then you can kind of think about it. And then Jen, if you have a response to that too, feel free to chime in here afterwards. But one of the things I like to do is, this would be fun for the both of you, is to put on Dr. Scrubs, or if you don't want to go that far, just to get a stethoscope and hang it around your neck. When the kids walk in the classroom, you ask each of them today to be thinking of an illness. And so and if they don't have an illness, you give them one, which is when I give them really crazy ones, like, you got Ebola, you've got shingles and chicken pox at the same time. Again, you can just be super crazy. And then you go around and you guys like have a prescription pad and you have this conversation about what do you think? And then you go, yeah, take 2 aspirins and call me tomorrow. And that's the solution to give to every kid. And then you give them like 2 minutes to talk to each other and say, okay, what was crazy about what just happened here? And they're like, well, it's crazy that you think that, if I've got Ebola, 2 aspirins are going to fix me. Or if I'm allergic to aspirins, that's one I give kids often, that you're going to kill me. So why would you do that? And you say, okay, great. Well, that's equally crazy in our classroom. That in this classroom, Lisa and TJ, again, you'd use your last names, and you put a prescription pad on the wall. And you say, fair means every student gets what he or she needs. And then when a student says something like that, say, it's not your business. We're all about everybody getting what they need. I'm not talking about that. And I would just shut it down right there. But that's what's great. And then if a student says, well, he got that and I didn't, you make them read publicly. It's one of the few times I use public humiliation. You make them read that definition aloud to the class. And after about the 2nd time, no one will ever ask you that question again.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, and it's a fun one. Jen, you have anything you want to add there?
And I've done something very much like that. I actually did it with teachers so that the teachers understood it, where they all walked in the door and I gave them all a Band-Aid as they walked in. I made them all put the Band-Aid all in the exact same spot, and they didn't understand why. And like one person had a cut on their arm, so it was actually covering up the actual cut on their arm. And we went around and talked about the FAIR being what everybody needs. And it helped the teachers to understand it a little bit better. And then we've gone in to talk with different classrooms about the same situation when we've had kids who, were getting something read aloud to them or we're getting something, written for them. So.
Okay.
And then one last thing I might share too is, again, my personal philosophy when I'm co-teaching is praise in public, punish in private. So I might have that young man very, very quickly and say on the side, I respect that in here you should have great opinions about literature. I don't respect that you have opinions about anyone else's work, because I think you need to keep your opinions yourself. And then I move on. So the rule is 3 seconds, quick statement, and move on. And that would be another thing that I might choose to do. Because again, once that starts, then the next student will say it, and the next student will say it. So shutting it down really quickly those first 2 weeks of school, I think, are really important.
Okay, that's good.
So you guys assessed your kids, and I think for planning today, our goal too was to talk about the tiers of kids. So what did you find in the assessment of your students? I'm anxious to hear.
Well, we have about 14
Yeah,
in
14
class.
IEPs.
Yeah, 14 IEPs. So that's